We are back now with the panel. Brit, let's talk about the political fallout. Hillary Clinton has been cleared by the FBI, essentially saying, yes, careless, extreme carelessness, but no criminal intent, no criminal charges recommended. She says she's relieved.
Not sure I'd use the word cleared. After all, the picture that was painted by Director Comey of her conduct was devastating. And you know, if you posit any normal year, any normal set of circumstances, and determine that one of the candidates has been extremely careless in the handling of classified information, that by itself would seem to be disqualifying. But in this year, in this moment, it's not for her. So she remains the favorite to become president. It is a striking situation. Moreover, there's the clear fact that the law that Comey was talking about, or the laws, the book that he was citing in his decision to recommend no prosecution, didn't quite support his claim, which involved the question of intent. He said it was absent. Normally that is a factor in the decisions whether to prosecute, but there's a section of the law that we've all heard about all week that simply says that gross negligence, which is pretty close to extreme carelessness if you think about it, and I suspect he chose the words extreme carelessness very carefully so that to try to draw a distinction, which I don't think the law recognizes, and I think a prosecution would have been a perfectly reasonable decision, though he said that no reasonable prosecutor would do it. So I think this is damaging to her. I don't think it's over. And on we go with a set of choices that most Americans now find for president unsatisfactory.
Well, and Susan, there are so many other things going on here because now Jason Chaffetz, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, says early next week he will make a referral to the FBI for this investigation about whether she lied to Congress. There's potentially an FBI investigation going into the Clinton Foundation going on. The State Department's reopening its look into this whole thing. I mean, there are still shoes potentially left to drop.
You know, this controversy isn't over. We're going to be hearing about it from now until Election Day, and I agree with Brit that not prosecutable is not the world's strongest possible campaign slogan you could run it on. But think about the alternative. If Comey had said it was prosecutable, that he was going to recommend criminal indictment of Secretary Clinton, we would be in a totally different place. Democrats would be debating whether to go ahead with her nomination in 2 weeks. So she has averted catastrophe. She has reinforced the doubts about her character, about her honesty, her transparency, her trustworthiness, that are her biggest single problem. And she's made it, I think, more difficult for her to unite the nations. You know, from the beginning of your show, the discussion of these terrible shootings, you get the sense that Americans feel so fractured and would really like to be drawn together. And I think it is quite difficult for either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump to be the figures in a position to do that.
Karl, how much will the VP pick matter on each side, or won't it?
It doesn't matter much. They have very little impact except in their home state. It will say something about the decision-making process of the candidate. What do they consider to be important in a running mate? Let me add to what Susan and Brit said. Not only does it reinforce that she is not only dishonest and not trustworthy, that she lied to us about every one of the major claims that she made about this, but it also leaves the stench that the rules don't apply to her. If the next Secretary of State came in and said, I'm going to set up my own private server in my home, and I'm going to do exactly what Hillary Clinton did, do you think that the official Washington line would be, go ahead and do it, because that's your right, just as it was for Hillary Clinton? So ordinary Americans are looking at this saying, you know what, Bill went and met with the Attorney General, the fix is in, Clinton's been endorsed by President Obama, the Attorney General, even the Attorney General admits it was a bad thing to have happen. So a lot of ordinary Americans are looking at this saying there are two sets of rules, one for the Clintons and one for everybody else.
And one, I want to quickly get you to react to some numbers. When asked whether she was honest and trustworthy, 30% said yes, 66% of Americans said no. If she was corrupt, 58% said yes. What does she do with that?
Well, I think what she has to do is to somehow overcome by, I think, speaking directly to the American people. Now, this week you're going to have Bernie Sanders, her primary opponent, come out and endorse her. President Obama endorsed her last week. Vice President Biden's endorsement was put in abeyance given the events in Dallas this week. But all of the Democrats are going to rally around her and try to transfer. President Obama's ratings are now plus 50, so he's in good shape to transfer to her the thought that, yes, I trust her. This week he said, to the astonishment of many Republicans, she's the most qualified person ever to run for president. But that's the message that has to be conveyed to reassure, especially independent voters, Shannon, that she is a reliable choice.
It won't matter. She's not going to be established as reliable or trustworthy.
You don't think the numbers turn around?
But that doesn't mean she won't win, because of who her opponent is. It's a very strange election cycle in which each candidate is the other's best hope.
It is, absolutely. All right, thank you, panel. That's all we have time for today.